Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Let's talk about rising prospect now, heading into contention. Vergil Ortiz, promoted by Golden Boy Promotions, as they see him as an elite talent, perhaps future of boxing. And Vergil Ortiz passed another test this past Saturday night, dispatching of a gatekeeper type of opponent in Sammy Vargas. Vargas is a guy who is being used as, you know, what matchmakers like to use for their prospects or up-and-coming guys. And Ortiz, he passed the test with flying colors this past Saturday night. You know, he had a dominant performance from the start, from the jump against Sammy Vargas. Displayed some really good offensive artillery. He's very explosive. He can fight. He even showed some good footwork in there. Some pivots, some angles. And he does have the counter-punching skills. So, he's not just all about punching power and explosiveness. The dude brings some solid boxing skills to the table. And he just passed another test as he got the stoppage against Sammy Vargas in 7 rounds. The fight could have been stopped sooner. I mean, Vargas really took a beating for about 7 rounds, was getting his ass whooped as early as, was in danger of being stopped as early as the 4th round. And the point is, he got the job done in a respectable time frame. Could have been stopped sooner, but he did it in the same time frame as Danny Garcia did. Danny Garcia stopped Sammy Vargas in 7 rounds. Errol Spence did it quicker than both guys compared to Ortiz and Danny Garcia. He stopped Sammy Vargas in 4 rounds. But Ortiz showed that he's really a contender in the welterweight division. And he's just trying to climb the rankings and looking to challenge one of the elite contenders in the welterweight division before he challenges for a world title. I mean, the question is he a top 10 welterweight? Can he beat the likes of a Sean Porter, a Danny Garcia, or Keith Thurman? That is the question. Can he beat the likes of those guys? And that's the type of challenge that Vergil Ortiz is seeking. He wants to test his skills against one of those guys, one of those top contenders in the welterweight division before he challenges for a world title, because obviously the welterweight champions are Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and Manny Pacquiao, a 3-headed monster. And right now, Vergil Ortiz wouldn't be favored to beat any of those guys, not even an aging Manny Pacquiao. So the next best step for Ortiz is obviously another fight against a top 15 guy, someone better than Sammy Vargas, and then try to entice one of those top contenders to get in the ring with, like a Thurman, like a Sean Porter, like a Danny Garcia. It'll be a very interesting, man. Some people feel that he's not ready, that he hasn't proven enough, that, beating up Sammy Vargas doesn't prove shit. But he's gotten in the results. He did it in a respectable time frame. And he displayed that he's a contender in the welterweight division. But that's the perfect next progression step, man. Fight one of those guys, one of the top contenders in the welterweight division. And even if it's not Thurman or Porter or Danny Garcia, obviously those are the guys that he's gunning for, because they bring the name recognition. They don't bring a belt, but they bring in the name recognition, and a win of over one of those guys will bring in a lot of respect for Vergil Ortiz, especially for the doubters who think he ain't shit. It's just another Golden Boy hype job. But if you can't get one of those guys, there's other top welterweights. You got Lipinets. You got the winner of the Lipinets and the other guy that he's fighting. You got Batuev. You got Alexander Besputin. Ortiz will get his chance. He'll have to become mandatory to fight one of these guys or fight an eliminator, and that's what they're going to do. That's what Vergil Ortiz's team are going to do. They're going to keep climbing the rankings, keep getting the best available opponent for his subsequent fights. And then hopefully when he gets into a title eliminator position, he'll get a chance to fight one of those guys. Or enforce a mandatory position against one of the champions in the welterweight division. Well, I'm sure Golden Boy would like to get their hands on one of the bigger name contenders in the welterweight division. Honestly, after watching his last fight, man, I think Vergil Ortiz is ready for those guys. He's ready for a Sean Porter, a Danny Garcia. I would actually pick Vergil Ortiz to beat Danny Garcia right now. Definitely. He's too young, too fresh. He's full of energy and confidence, and he's very explosive, powerful. He's got a lot of offensive talent. He even has, he's even displayed some boxing skills in there. So right now, I think he's ready. But obviously, being that they're PBC fighters, it's not going to be a walk in the park for the fight to be made. Danny, Porter, and Thurman, they got their own interests, their own journey. They have their own options. They don't have to fight a young, up-and-coming, fresh, unproven kid and risk themselves of getting embarrassed by a young pup like Vergil Ortiz. But this young pup can definitely bite, man. This dude can fight. And after watching his performance, I would pick him to beat a Sean Porter, a Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman, coming off a layoff and a 1-year layoff and an ass whooping, it's not out of the question that Vergil could upset Keith Thurman. Thurman, I consider still a top 5 welterweight, but you have to question his desire in the game now. I mean, he's going to be 32 years old. He's been inactive as hell. He got his ass whooped by an aging Manny Pacquiao. So you have to question his hunger, his desire to return to the ring, and can he, hold off, tame a young lion like Vergil Ortiz at this stage of his career, when all the questions surrounding his career, his desire to fight. So, yeah, I think Vergil is ready for those guys. Will he get those guys next? Most likely he will not. But you'll see a better opponent next time out, hopefully. Maybe a top 15, guy, maybe a Ray Robinson type, maybe a Mean Machine type of opponent. It's a step in the right direction. And then we'll see if he can get in position for a title eliminator or a mandatory title shot. That's the only way this kid's going to get his chance at the limelight in the welterweight division. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.